Hey, hey! Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I feel like I've been away for a while, but it was because Monday we didn't have the show after the weekend. Monday. I'm moving the shows to 9 anyway, and that helps me for a lot of reasons. Mainly the kids and school, getting all that situated, and then it gives me some time actually early in the morning, more time in the morning, and right before the show to get some more stuff done. And but Monday, there was my wife likes thrifting. There was a special at a store, and I could tell she really wanted me to go. And I normally don't go with her, and I said, "Okay, I'll go." Because then I was thinking, well, then I won't, stream until 9 anyway. But it ended up being that long, and so I was like, yeah, it makes my wife happy to go thrifting with her. I don't think I got anything though. But, no, yeah, this will normally be at 9, and, and things will change a little bit around here because what I wanna start doing is almost, like, start off by kinda plugging my games, even though, this is a video game talk show stream. Journal, I see it as a journal, a live journal, if you guys remember that. I remember Live Journal, that was the first one I used, I think. No, there was the website builders before that, but I guess for the idea that I'm, like, kind of journaling. I never really did that with a real journal or notebook or anything. And the reason I decided to stream daily was, oh, this is a way for me when I'm doing game things anyway that I can research some game stuff, talk about game stuff, and then kind of chronicle so I can like look at it in the future. I like doing that. I like looking at my opinions of games in the past, and I don't know. I think it's all culminated to this where I've made a game. And it is on Steam right now, not to buy, but you can add it to your wish list. So this happened Monday also. I had sent it in for approval. I've made some updates to it, to the store. Well, first of all, we have a trailer that's up. You could check it out on the Blue Gamer Twitter. I think I even have it posted here too. Yeah, on this channel. And that's the thing, because this channel is now, well, it's Blue Gamer, but it's pretty much Blue Gamer. It's like this interesting hybrid game dev, game enthusiast. It's like I like playing just as much as I like making. It has same things that are going on. When I'm playing a game, I love to figure out what these systems are and how they put them together and what's that artistic touch on top. When I'm making a game, it's the same thing. It's like, what kind of neat artistic creative touch can I put on top of putting together gameplay systems that I have fun with, and while I think my big main one, Mech Annihilation, is going to have more substantially, like gameplay wise, that one will hopefully be out soon. In fact, my brother was playing it a little bit yesterday. This is where I decided to take this whole thing seriously, the game dev. And actually, what I might as well do right now is like, I want anyone watching this to wish list, please, if you'd like. I guess the idea with the wish list is apparently that's kind of some telemetry that could be used to get an understanding of how many people are interested and would potentially buy this. Because in the situation I am where, I'm no longer working full time in IT consulting as I was doing before, I'm now considered unemployed. I am trying to see if it's possible that I could develop a game and somehow it could help support me and my family. While I then like, okay, if this is a possibility, maybe let's dive more in. And I have so many concepts. And again, Mech Annihilation is the bigger one. So what I was trying to get to was that I felt like it was more important for me to kind of scale back, make a smaller game, but have that concrete scope where I'm not deviating too much from a specific plan, because I think that allows something to come out as more produced than it probably was, especially because I'm using AI code generation. So even though I'm building it in a game engine, Codex and Claude is helping me generate the code for that, which I have no problem with. If that's what game developers need to do to get to where they want and show us something awesome, I'm down with that. So that, because I'm so into video games, that's another part of this channel. It's always been me talking about games. Since I'm so into games, when I want to then describe game mechanics and how it would work and how it would feel, it's very easy for me to interface with the cloud code and codecs and get the outcome I want. Because then I'm jumping into the game again using my 30 plus years video game experiences playing games, playing what has been coded, and I'm like, either yes, this works, or no, that doesn't work. And then I quickly iterate. I can quickly get to what I need to do to adapt to make it not seem like, because I think it's okay and it's fun to use AI tools to make whatever you want. But I think there is a residue that you need to make sure you remove from that use when you want to put something out there. You don't have to, but I think if you want people to take it seriously, because there could be someone that has an amazing ideas, but anything they generate just doesn't look that great, but they are so happy with their idea anyway, and I get that. But I think there has to be this other layer on top where if you want, especially right now, I think in the future, people might get over that stuff, kind of like CG in animation. I think that was a big thing. And also CGI in general in movies. There was a period of time where, people would just laugh at special effects. Anyway, and so I'm able to play and then be like, yes, exactly, this is what I want. And this is so fun. And so that's where I was like, okay, let me put out something like Epic Space Battles. Because my first thought is, what is the coolest thing I'd like to see in a game that I couldn't do right now? I would love to make a large scale, like first person, or, basically you would be in a ship. So it would be like, X-Wing, TIE fighter, whatever. And it would be massive ships everywhere, open world, open space. I mean, just that would be really cool. And it's like, well, I don't have the means to do that. So what I then went with was, well, okay, how can I then produce that spectacle in a way that's like, oh, for a video game, that looks cool. And hopefully what people are seeing, it does that. For me, it does. I've never seen a game that it's just showing like this huge fleet. And I was like, well, I'd love to make an RTS, but that's going to take a lot more time, and which is actually what I've been working on since the Gundam game, Mobile Suit Fleet Battle, expanding the RTS elements. But then I was like, well, you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the experiment. I want to make something that shows off the spectacle, because it's cool, but make it cheap. Make it so this will be $4.99. I thought I was able to have the price up on here, but I guess not yet. But yeah, it's going to be $4.99, and because the idea is, I feel like, again, this is an interesting thought because I'm using AI code gen. I think that could make the game cheaper. I don't know where I'm really going with that. I saw a tweet about like, should games be built with AI code generation be cheaper? And I get that. And I think there could be different cases. In my case, I felt like, yes, for this, I wouldn't want to price this more than $4.99, because the AI code gen has allowed me to get to where I want to so fast. And I would like to do that. I would like to get to where I want really fast multiple times and have so many cool other games people can play. And they're not expensive, but they're all different experiences. So not that I would say for sure 100% any game made with AI should be cheaper, but I align with that notion. I do. Let me then show you guys something else that came of this. So I also made that shmup earlier. I think I have the video up of it, the Squadron Saviors. And it's like I just made it to make a shmup. But then as I made that first level, that's when I really realized, okay, I need to be making something unique right now. Even though I like shmups, hey, I made a shmup. That's where Mobile Suit Fleet Battle came in, and it kind of taught me, oh, I can make what I want. So that's why it's kind of been a snowballing effect, right? So after making Epic Space Battles, I had so many assets and systems that I can put into place. I was like, well, what if I can flip all that into a shmup? And so that means I could take more time on what I really want it to be. Although I am taking more time on certain elements than I thought I would, and I'll get to that. But let me show you guys this. one thing, I love the music. Yeah, I used AI, but I'm very particular with how I use AI to make music, and I think it rocks. Okay. Some of it, I'm going to change some of it up. This, to me, is exactly what I've wanted to see, and I made it. Okay. Here we go. So this will play like a cave shmup. What I've done is there's a high-res asset, for the ship, and I made it to where it looks like a chunkier 16-bit ship, and making the rotation left and right. There's also interesting gameplay element. Actually, let me. All right, see my ship up there, high res. Now it's with me. It's low res because we. Anyway, there's an interesting feature with this game because I'm trying to figure out what the gameplay elements are completely. For one, is the grazing. Is grazing the term? The bullets as they come by, you see like I can get shot, but then it turn blue. And the blue is like because you went right past the bullet without hitting it, and you get like a health back. But I might change that actually to be something else, because I'm trying to balance managing your health and your weapons, because there's a weapon system that uses 2 buttons. If you're using an Xbox controller, you hold down X to shoot. A changes what your primary weapon is, even though they're all firing at the same time. They have different. Like if I go on missile, there's a whole bunch of like the homing missile is a lot stronger. But if you're on like machine gun, there's a spread. Laser, it's all concentrated. But then when you rescue the wingmen, I have 2 with me, you can then press Y to change the formation, like if you need even wider. So I could do machine gun and wide, like covers the screen, for instance. Or laser makes it a super strong concentrated blast. Yeah, I like that gameplay idea. It's like I'm using 2 other buttons. So there's also this where you can upgrade. You can upgrade how much, like you see on the left-hand side, there's the 3 things for each. You can go up to 6. And then I used 11 music for the music here. And what my aim was going for was modernizing the late 80s, early 90s shmup sort of metal, but rock, electronic. It's like a mix of things to give it a spacey sci-fi sound, be a bit melodic in the style of like rock from that era, but then have more of the metal sensibilities, like guitar, how the guitar plays, the drums, the kind of the energy. Yep, got my wingmen. I mean, this is something I would be playing. I would buy this. So while I'm pausing on this right now to work on little things for epic space battles, when I resume this, and it's pretty far along anyway. Yeah, you can even go on the side there. I'm excited to really make this look like something like interesting, where you look at it and you're like, wow, this looks good. Like, I expect it to look different than it does now. But the mechanics, I think I have them here. It's just a little easy. Anyway, yeah, the boss doesn't really have any health. Anyway, that is Epic Space Battles Razor Squadron. This is like a super, super pre-alpha. Yeah. Okay. Let's get back to the screen share. That was a whole opening I did for 15 minutes that I probably won't do again. Even though I will open with, anyway, guys, wishlist this. let's go to what I've been playing. So I actually didn't play anything yesterday, which I'm shocked, but it could be because again, I've been doing a lot of work. When I say that I'm not doing my consulting IT job, it's like I am literally filling that time plus more to work on the game. So it's like I never really stopped working. Um, but yeah, a day like yesterday is a good example. I was so busy yesterday. Um, guys, I beat Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, and I don't know what I think about it exactly, but I here's the thing. This is something weird to me because I've been playing games forever. But when they first announced it and showed it off, I had this feeling in my head like, yeah, this is gonna be some simple little thing they're gonna push as being a little more hardcore. That was like the cynical part of me, but I was like, I'm not gonna drag that on. I'm gonna be like, hey, this game looks interesting. Oh, they added Blade, yeah, you know. And while I had fun playing it, it is spectacle. It is the mechanics are actually really good, but they're not what I like. In fact, it's almost like too good and too fun. Not against other players because it could be different. I just mean when I'm doing CPU stuff, that it's almost like I don't know how to explain it. I will say at the end of the day, I'm glad I played it. And if you're a fighting game fan or a Marvel fan, I think it's worth getting and playing. It's just I would say this is it's like you'll like it if you're a fighting game fan, but it's not like this game is going to be better than most fighting games. But if you haven't played fighting games and you play this, which could be part of their little strategy here, you're going to find fun in it. Like the primary button, whether it's PlayStation being X or on PC, Xbox controller being A, that main primary button for a lot of games is for your friends to jump in. And the reason I think that's important is just because I think it's pushing that element instead of being a bodily function to attack a character. I also think it's interesting that the X button or square, that with A helps you counter. And I forget the actual terminology, but I love this gameplay element. In fact, it's um, uh, for me, it started Dead or Alive when I was first playing that series. That's where I kind of discovered this mechanic, and I love it. And it's X and A, so it's like press A, press X, and and then when you do a combo, it's just X, 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 or Y, Y, Y. So and I've explained it before. All the controls are very easy, but I think that makes it fun then to play 4 different Marvel characters at once fighting each other. It looks like a traditional fighting game, but it's just more of an action game. It's more of a action brawler that happens to be in a fighting game. Just because of the controls, it's pretty simple, but they all have meaning to them. And so when I say I beat it, I actually beat the missions. There's like 5, I think. No, there were chapters that I think had the episodes. It was like 11 each. And it was one of those things where the game's like teaching you how to play, but it's also fun to play in that manner too. Like a typical arcade. But the last boss, annoying as F, but this is where the interesting elements come in. Because if you play the game, like you could be a button masher and be successful. And I know people have said it before, but it actually is the best way to explain it. Just when I was thinking on the last boss, I ended up winning by mashing the face button combos instead of being a little more technical. Like I liked to guess the main boss's move. There was like 3 forms of him, but anytime he had a certain move, there was this time where I was able to just always catch him in air and counter him and then do specials on top of that. Like that's a little more exciting, but there's times where he was just either the CPU was just knowing to avoid certain things I was doing, or it was trying to get me to just button mash. Because then when I was just button mashing X, Y, or B, because again, button mashing X is a combo. Y is a combo. B, not together, but separately. And they each have their own comp, so you can just mash that the whole time. So here's what's interesting too, because it's showing that on PlayStation, I've got the achievements unlocked, which is interesting. PlayStation, I played for 3 hours, Steam, 6 hours. I don't know what any of this means. I just bought it on Steam and signed in a PlayStation account, but I think it's pretty cool that I picked up, some PlayStation stuff. Okay, a couple more interesting things here that I hadn't talked about. Devil Blade Reboot. I loaded that up because I talked about this yesterday. So that was probably the most recent shmup for me to crown my favorite shmup. Usually, like, new ones would come out, but they're not. But Devil Blade Reboot, great. So I was playing some of it to kind of get a study of the feel for the Razor Squadron game I'm making, and it's pretty much a match. It's that style, that type of gameplay, but there's a little bit more mechanics with what I'm doing to try to engage the player a little more for safety. Like, because shmups can be hard, but what if you can add more mechanics than just holding down a button to shoot? But the mechanics kind of help you stay alive. That's why I'm trying to do that bullet grazing. You get hit, but then you get health to kind of, yeah. Okay, here's a cool one, guys. I don't have the box with me. It's in the other room. Over G Fighters. What is this? Well, I saw this at GameStop, and it was $4.99 because, GameStop sells retro stuff too. And I was basically avoiding it, but I've always been into games that only have disc versions available. Like, I have the Godzilla on PS4. I'll have to look up there's Outrun 2 on 360. I think it's something like that. There's a bunch of those games that aren't backwards compatible or anything, and Overg is one of them. And I have my 360 hooked up to the living room to play like Fist of North Star. But it's interesting having the 360 and PS3 hooked up to the living room because there's still games that you can only play on them that you still want. Whereas, those generations before, PS2, and even most Xbox stuff is backwards compatible, but PS2, you have a PS3 that can play those games, or you can emulate. So I feel like that point, the 360 and PS3 is that. Anyway, Over G Fighters, this is a really fun arcadey sim because it appears to be very simulation-like, and it's a Japanese-developed game, Taito, I think, published by Ubisoft. But as you're playing, it's like really good, actually, because sometimes it'll be really hard, but I never really fail the mission. It's more about like turning. So it's pretty cool. What does it show here that I've, well, you earned an F-14A, and then this is cleared submission in area 2 of scenario. Okay, and got enter the F-16C. So yeah, it just uses actual military craft in it. It's pretty cool. It's like I don't know military craft too well, but I like them and know some of them. That's kind of what's inspired a lot of the stuff, like playing these ship games. Okay, Wild Blue Skies. Okay, this is pretty interesting because this was that Star Fox-like, and I think I was telling you guys about it, so I'm not going to talk too much more about it because, yeah, I had played it since we had talked, but it's just pretty much exactly Star Fox. And I was hoping for something a little different, but I can't complain because the X Zodiac isn't exactly like Star Fox. I feel like it even takes more from the SNES version, tried to modernize that. This doesn't really, it's funny. They could have hired this developer to make Star Fox on Switch 2. Star Fox on Switch was still such a fun game for being such a simple concept in a way and remade so many times. Man, I keep forgetting I have my coffee. Okay. And demo. Oh, I'm thinking this is a demo when I see that. I wonder if that, no, because I'm not even saying anything. So it's not on here, but Mortal Shell 2. Hey, Jonas and Edamame, let me get to that in a second. But guys, Mortal Shell 2, I was just playing that. It had to have been yesterday or the day before. Like, reviewers were saying how it feels good, and my brother was telling me It was, and yeah, I went to play it, and I'm like, okay, actually, this is probably something I would main just because it feels so good. So and it reminds me of Crimson Desert, where it's like, yeah, this is exactly how I'd wanted to play. Now, Crimson Desert, I didn't finish, but I put 40 hours in. So if a game has that, like, they knew what they were doing with this game because not only that, but there's these two things in the beginning of the game that are part of the world, the environment, and you like hit them to get these orbs. In one, they placed it behind crates, and another one, an enemy near it to kind of teach you quickly, oh, you hit. And the reason I'm saying that is because we're seeing two, to me, are important concepts put together very well, meaning this game is going to be pretty fun. And that is early on, allowing the player to learn and figure out how to make use of melee combat, not only for enemies and boxes, but for items in the environment, all really quick within like 30 seconds. The game taught you that. And as you're doing it was very early too, where, yeah, I was using LB to block, and it's just playing the game and the controls it is. It's like, oh, that should be what it is. And yeah, I'm parrying and immediately annihilating enemies. And I'm like, okay. It wasn't until I got to the boss where I had no idea what I was supposed to do. Because you like press Y to use your shell mechanic. Yeah, it's all coming back to me, but it was pretty good. Okay. Man, I've talked a lot on this episode, haven't I? Okay. Oh yeah, I was gonna go back to something. Jonas, hey Adam, I think everyone is ditching PS5 version of tournaments and favoring Xbox instead. Maybe Marvel Telecom will land on Xbox after all. So that is a really interesting question or thought or whatever, because I do think it's pretty sad that this Tokon game isn't on Xbox. And I don't know how much of it is Sony made it exclusive or Sony has just, not only are they having this maybe temporary exclusivity, but they're part of the publishing so they can make money off of it being on Xbox. We'll wait and see, unless there's more information out there about that. But good point. I'm pretty interested in Mortal Shell 2. Been a while since I've dived into a Souls-like. Yeah, same here. It's been where I would just like kind of start one, like Berserk was pretty cool, but just moved on. That Wu Chang Falling Feathers was pretty cool, but I just moved on. But yeah, when I was playing Mortal Shell 2, I was like, this just feels good. So that might be it. Yeah, environmental tutorials. Yeah, just built right in the game to help you out, which made me think Epic Space Battles should probably have a tutorial for the first time you play, but it'd be easy. It would just be a gold highlight around saying, click here to do this, click here to do this. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going to move on to this. Yeah, the whole thing with, Saudi Arabia buying EA. I don't, I just brought this up just to kind of notate as I was talking earlier about this being a journal, just to think where EA is now versus where it was before, where EA was the first company where I sort of had a thought of like, okay, sell out, buy it, when they bought Westwood. And then I just started seeing the big EA logo on the Command and Conquer games. And I'm like, it's funny. It was just instinctual. I was like, that's not a good thing. I don't think it was. Even though I liked the games they came out with, they went in directions they shouldn't have. But then I'll always remember, was it John Riccatello apologizing to Command and Conquer fans? It was just, one of those corp press things. But it was a text of him, from scenes Command and Conquer 3 saying, we'll get it better next time. And Kane's Wrath was that. But then what really made me upset, I know I'm going down a rabbit hole, is I think it was Red Alert 3. Red Alert 3. Yeah, maybe I don't remember exactly. I think it was Red Alert 3 where I was practicing to play for a tournament, for doing tournaments and stuff. And I guess, yeah, they changed the gameplay with a patch like 2 days before these tournaments were going to start. And it kind of changed how the game went. I was like, oh, would I have to go back? And then I've just felt like, yeah, I don't want to have to, I wouldn't feel confident in 2 days learning what I needed to. I'll have to look that up when that happened. I might even have it in a Blue Gamer archive. Anyway, that's EA, I guess. Okay, so Konami's Castlevania Grimoire of Souls to be taken offline next month. So I'm a huge Castlevania fan, guys, and I bought an Apple TV 4K. Not only because I was like, oh, I could stream my PC. At that time, I didn't need to, though, but it was to play this, the TMNT game, Splinter's Fate, a James Bond game that's actually pretty good. If it was, yeah, James Bond. Anyway, but this Castlevania game was so much better than I thought. It unfortunately was less Metroidvania, but what it did well was because I had a bunch of different stages you would play, there was constantly stuff to do, and the combat was good, and the graphics were good. I was like, this actually could have been a retooled Castlevania game, released on console. But it's being taken offline next month. So why it's just interesting about this is because this is the 40th anniversary of Castlevania this year, and so the new game, Belmont's Curse, is coming out. They've already said there's going to be multiple Castlevania projects coming out this year. We have only heard of this one game, right? That's been it, the Belmont's Curse. I'm hoping or wondering how much this is the sign that Grimoire of Souls is going to be released on PC, console. There's a couple things here. I know we already have an August game for Konami. Konami always does an August release. This year, it's that Metal Gear Solid collection. I'm hoping, because of when it's saying being delisted August 20th, we're going to get that drop. They shadow dropped 1 August. They shadow dropped the DS collection, okay? I could see them shadow dropping Grimoire of Souls. I would love it if that's the other release that they're talking about. And it could be on a proper console. I'm sure they're going to tweak the controls, tweak the UI, because the Apple Arcade version didn't have microtransactions anyway. It was a full game, so they already got that layer. But I think they could do more. Anyway, that's my wish for one of the things to happen in the rest of the year is to have this, even though I already played a whole ton of it. I would play a whole ton more. Didn't beat it. It's probably one of the biggest Castlevania games just because it's made for mobile, so it has so many levels. So, yeah. Too bad Command & Conquer 4 definitely never happened. Oh, man. That is so funny. When I had pre-ordered Command & Conquer 4, and I think it came out the same day as God of War either 3 or 4, I forget. I think it was 3. And I remember going to the midnight launch, and I was the only one there to get Command & Conquer 4. Everyone was there for God of War. And I thought that was very interesting. I remember that being a time where I'm like, wow, things have really changed. Let me see. Command & Conquer 4. I wonder if you search it and, nothing shows up. Yeah, that was 2010. So then God of War 3 was 2010. Yeah. So yeah, that was an interesting time where everything kind of changed then. I mean, I ended up getting God of War 3. I even got the special edition. I just wanted to play and then Command & Conquer 4 was I need to play that again just to play it. Because it was probably over a weekend I beat it and I was like, what happened? All right, let's move on real quick. So Verse Studio, this is the new SNK. SNK, new owners. They've got veterans from Bandai Namco that were on Tekken that's going to be there to help their fighting game studio. So that's pretty awesome. Let's see. Memory Crisis is driving uncertainty over PlayStation 6's launch date. I haven't really been keeping up much with this. That's why when I see things on Twitter, I don't know how much people are just saying, oh, because of memory, we don't know when it's going to come out. Yeah, I don't know what to think. I really think, I would be sure, and maybe we're just not hearing about it on purpose, but these companies are going a different direction with hardware, where there's, a lot of like an AI neural layer. I mean, they're making the NPUs anyway. And even that Xbox ROG Ally what's it called? The ROG Ally. There's it because I have a ROG Ally, but it's a special one. It has that neuro layer on it, and so it would be like you could eventually rely less on um, certain manufacturing parts. And I feel like that's the direct, but maybe they're also not wanting to talk about that too much. I don't know. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Mortal Shell. That's why I brought that up. I wanted to talk about it. So yeah, Mortal Shell 2. Oh yeah, and then longtime video game dev Warren Spector retiring after 45 years. Let me look at his whole list of games because I want to say he's someone that while I didn't play a lot of his games, they were very influential in what I was doing. Video games. Yeah, Ultima. But I don't know if I ever played that one. Wing Commander, Ultima. Yeah, there we go. Wing Commander, System Shock, of course. Deus Ex. Yeah, and then it went into Thief was a big deal. Yeah, that Thief was a big deal when it came out, and I did not see it. Epic Mickey. And then and other things that were TBA. So yeah, a lot of things that were influential. And he was with EA at one point. That's pretty cool. And then this Console Archives Rhapsody 2 Ballad of the Little Princess. Never heard of it, but pixel art. And I'm interested in the console archives. Like, what? Okay, it was released in 1999 for a 32-bit home console. Weird. It sounds like it's being cryptic. It's like, I can't tell you. But I think it's because... Oh, wait. It's on PC. Yeah, I don't know if this would be my type of game. It's like super cutesy. That's not... I think maybe that's done on purpose for that audience. But also, I think it's just straight up a turn-based game. So. But it looks good. I just love this type of pixel art. Okay, I need to do this on my page. The key features and the dots to kind of separate it a bit more. Yeah. All right. Aren't we getting a new Thief Remastered? No, I want to say I heard that too. I was thinking that just as I was reading that. Yeah, they tried esports with CNC, and then God of War was definitely a better alternative. I know. Yeah, I can't wait for the new SNK stuff to see what comes from that. But all right, guys, I'm going to head out. That was a lot of fun. Please wishlist the game if you haven't. Epic Space Battles coming September 30th for $4.99 on Steam. Trying to get it on the other platforms too. We'll see. I'll have it on itch.io also. But all right, I'll be on Midnight Hatter Live later today, so I will see you guys then. Have a good one.